Hello, this is Erica with Launching Legacies. Welcome to our daily devotional. Today we are going to talk about time change. So if you are in North America, in particular, your time has changed just this past weekend. And what it made me kind of think about was really a change that's happening for Launching Legacies for me as a executive of the organization, and figuring out how change can be so pivotal in our lives. And so let's talk a little bit about why time changes. Let's kind of do a history there. So time changes so that we can get the best benefit from daylight. Okay, and that's why it's called daylight savings, because when the tilt of the axes of the earth shifts during the different seasons, right? It changes for the winter and the summer. When that shift happens, it means that the daylight times have shifted, right? So there's more daylight either in the morning or in the daytime, or more daylight in the evening. Well, for a regular work day, people wanted to get the most, actually, as legislators wanted to get the most energy efficiency. So they asked people to change the time of day so that when work was over, there would still be hours of daylight, right? And so really nothing is really changing other than we are shifting our time to match what is naturally occurring in the movement of the earth. And so what does that mean? Well, when that shift happens and we move and give ourselves an extra hour of daylight, that's essentially what we're doing, a functional hour of daylight, then we have more daylight time to do different activities because it's light outside. And this happened, actually, it was implemented more widely during an energy crisis in which we wanted to decrease the amount of energy being consumed. And so we needed more light time because people needed to be at work at a certain time and in school at a certain time. So everything needed to adjust by that hour in order for the daylight to really be a benefit to us. And so that's why daylight savings came. And it actually can be considered controversial to some people. In some areas, some states have not used it. I think Indiana was one of the last states to actually use it, and sometimes they don't. I don't even really know the full reason behind their use and not use of it. But it became controversial. But actually, daylight savings, or some version of it, is actually used in numerous countries around the world. It's not just in the United States or North America. However, it can be controversial. People think it alters their sleep time, and it definitely has an effect on the body, or has an effect on other systems. But whether or not it's considered good or bad, it's something that we practice and that we've been practicing for quite some time. And so I want to talk to you, though, about the paradigm of what's happening with daylight savings, right? So daylight savings has given us this extra hour of light, and it was implemented to be a greater benefit from what was already naturally occurring. And as I was thinking about, and actually this past weekend, I was working on a project that would shift the work that Launching Legacies does. So we would still be doing the counseling and coaching and things that we typically do, but really we're starting to expand and grow. And over time, that's what happens, right? When an organization gets to certain places, we hit milestones, and then we begin to expand, we begin to change, we begin to naturally progress in different areas. And as I was thinking about that, it just literally this past weekend, when the time changed, it hit me that, oh my goodness, this has to happen. Like, this shift needs to move forward, because if it doesn't, we don't continue to get the most benefit from what's naturally occurring, right? If this shift doesn't take place, then we're lagging behind what God has already naturally progressed in our season, right? So it's just something that's already going to happen. We'll get the most benefit by adjusting our time to use that benefit. And I want to encourage you and do a devotional, just at least for today. I'm not sure if we will actually continue till tomorrow, but a devotional to talk about the importance of understanding what's happening around you and going with it. Because sometimes we can be set that, okay, no, this is what we do, right? For the past few years, Launching Legacies, me personally, have been doing a lot of counseling, and I do mean a lot, okay? So I've been doing counseling all the time, counseling. And that's great because counseling is a foundational part of what Launching Legacies does, but it's not all that we do. And so there was a move or a trend for me to do more, and to do different things, to start doing more things that would be more progressive and have more exponential change on the organization. And at some points I was really excited about it, and other points I was kind of lagging behind. But what happened is I realized this past weekend was that it didn't matter how I felt about it. Things were moving in the direction that they needed to move in naturally. And so if I was going to get the benefit, I needed to adjust myself to benefit from the time, just like we adjust our clocks to benefit from the daylight, right? And so it will be upon all of us, though, to make such adjustments in life. And that's why sometimes in Christian circles, you'll hear people talking about the seasons, right? Well, in this season of my life, or in that season, and so on and so forth, then we'll talk about it as if things are going to naturally shift and change, and what are we going to do, or how we're going to adjust to it. And so it's important for us to recognize that there will be a time in which we will adjust. We need to move with the things that are already naturally moving. And I want to read a scripture from Proverbs 24:14. And it's an interesting proverb in this particular translation. This is the New Century Version, which I don't actually hear people use often. It's of no difference to me because I can always cross-reference, but so just be mindful. This is New Century and the words are different in other versions. But Proverbs 24:14 says, in the same way, wisdom is pleasing to you. If you find it, you will have hope for the future, and your wishes will come true. Most people, the wishes will come true part, that part is kind of fantastical. So in other versions, it says your desires or your hopes will be actualized, like you'll have what you're looking for. But it's saying, look, if you can find wisdom, right? If you can figure out when to shift with the tide, if you can figure out when to make a change in your natural patterns, when you can figure out where you're going and kind of adjust to that where you're going, then you'll have hope for the future. And that makes sense because you won't be stuck doing what you did last year. Next year, you want to be doing something different. Then today is the day to start to make those adjustments, right? It's time to make those shifts. But it's not always easy. But it doesn't mean that it's impossible. It's just not easy, right? Because you have to first realize what's happening around you. You have to observe that, oh my goodness, things are shifting and changing in a direction. I actually like that direction, okay? I actually like to go in that direction. I'm not sure what it means. I'm not sure what skills I'll need. I'm not sure what that'll look like, but I want to go in that direction. It's time for me to make a concerted effort, to make an intentional change in order for me to benefit from what is already naturally happening. And that is the application of wisdom, right? And the scripture says when we start to apply it, or when we find it, then we'll have hope, because we'll be like, oh, okay, I can adjust in this way and it'll benefit me. Okay, I can move in this direction and it'll open doors for me. Oh, if I do this or do that, it'll be okay. Now, sometimes, again, like I said, it's scary, but scary shouldn't deter us from moving forward, right? It can be intimidating, but intimidation shouldn't be something that keeps us from growing as an individual, family, organization, whatever it is that we need to do. We should find the strength to move on as it naturally progresses, because when that progression happens, then we'll be equipped. And the equipping helps us to preserve hope, right? God already has some place he wants you to be. He has some place he wants you to grow. He has something he wants done in your life. If you're able to naturally go with it, then you'll be more prepared for what's next, as opposed to fighting it, resisting it, or just like standing still because you're not sure exactly what else you're going to do or want to do or what it's going to look like. So I want to encourage you today, and I want to ask you to pray for me. Pray for Launching Legacies, because there is a shift happening, and we want to have wisdom as we make the adjustments necessary for that shift to be beneficial to us. But I want to let you know that I'm praying for the same thing for you. If a natural shift is happening for you and things need to change, I'm praying for you that you would have the strength to heal, live, and grow in the newness of the things that are happening for you, so that you can save time, right? So you can save time and you can get the most benefit from the things that are going on around you. Again, we're praying for you. We hope that you're praying for us, and we will see you again tomorrow with another devotional. Until then, be blessed.